Hey everyone, this is Steven here, back at it again with another video. In today's video, I plan on looking at the NBA sports card market. We're going to be looking at some players that have been knocked out of the playoffs, but mainly focusing on players that are still in the playoffs and what their cards are currently doing. But before we get into that, if you enjoy this type of content and would like to see more in the future, please feel free to hit the like button and also subscribe. So now that we got that out of the way, we can get into the actual video. There are a couple announcements I did want to make. The first one is that I am heading home to Anchorage, Alaska for the 4th of July weekend. So I'm actually leaving tomorrow, which is the 1st, and I'll be gone through Tuesday. So it's going to be a nice, relaxing weekend back home. I hope that everyone has a great 4th of July weekend. With that being said, I am going to go a little light on the videos this week, and I'm also going to be a lot less active on YouTube, so I do apologize in advance for that, but I will be posting. This video is probably going to release tomorrow on the 1st, and then I do have another video which is actually going to be Pokemon related, but I think it'll be pretty interesting, and that will be coming out Sunday is probably when I'm going to release it, but I am pre-recording both of those today. But I hope you enjoy those, and I also hope that you have a great 4th of July weekend with your friends and family. So now that we got those announcements out of the way, we can get into the actual video here, and I'm going to be covering the NBA sports card market. I'm going to briefly touch on a couple players that are not currently in the playoffs, but I did want to spend most of the time looking at some of the players that are currently in the playoffs right now. We are currently in Game 6 of the Western Conference Finals. Game 6 is actually tonight, with Phoenix leading 3-2. That's in about 30 minutes here. So I do not know the outcome of Game 6. As of right now, it's 3-2. The Suns are up. And then we are also currently on Game 5 for the Bucks. That game will be tomorrow, and that series is currently tied up. Giannis did have an injury yesterday, so it's going to be interesting to see how that all plays out. But as of right now, it's Game 6 for the Western Conference, and then Game 5 for the Eastern Conference Finals. So that being said, we can get into the NBA sports card market. I'm going to start off like I normally do, just by looking at Luka. And this is his one-year chart for his 2018 Prizm base in a PSA 10. And I typically start with Luka because to me, this is a very broad generalization of how the NBA sports card market is doing. So as you can see here, we had a huge peak in August of last year, and that was when they made the run in the playoffs, and this card was selling at about $2,000, and then it dove down once they got knocked out of the playoffs, and then the offseason came around, and then the hype started ticking up a little bit. So as you can see, around the December time frame, this was back up to about $1,900, and then ever since then, this kind of represents the whole NBA sports card market and also NFL and MLB, but these cards have been going straight down ever since then. So now you can get this card for $738 when it was a $2,000 card last August. So this card has gone down pretty significantly, just like the overall NBA card market. But now we'll switch over to another player who has also gone down pretty significantly, but this is Donovan Mitchell, and this is his 2017 base Prizm. This one only has a population of about 4,000, which is a lot less than the Luka Prizm PSA 10 rookie card. But this one, and I'm just looking at the last 30 days, but this card has gone down about 30% over the last 30 days. And as you can see here, his cards were trending up when they're making a little run in the playoffs. And then ever since they got knocked out, his cards have gone straight down. So pretty big cliff there for Donovan Mitchell, as the Utah Jazz did not live up to expectations. Over the past week, it looks like this card is actually up 8%, so we might have seen a little bit of flattening in his card, it looks like here. But still, overall, over the past 30 days, his card is down close to 30% with a little flattening over the past week. Next player on the list, and this is the last player that is currently not in the playoffs, but this is LeBron James, and this is his 2003 Topps Chrome base rookie card in a PSA 10. And over the last 90 days, as you can see here, this card has gone down about 30%. Over the last 30 days, this card's only down about 6%, so this card's actually seeing a little bit of flatness. And then over the last 7 days, this card's actually up 30%. So it does look like LeBron James, his card may have hit the bottom here. It does look like it's starting to trend up a little bit over the last week or so. So that could be some decent news for all you LeBron James fans out there, that it does look like this card is starting to flatten out a little bit. And then now we're going to really deep dive into some of the players that are currently playing. We're going to start off with the Western Conference players first, and we're going to start off with the Suns. And the first player on the list is Devin Booker, and over the past 30 days, so last month, his 2015 Prizm base in a PSA 10 is up about 40%, so 38.8% over the last month. So his cards have been doing extremely well, and you can see they had a big bump here as they keep moving on and advancing into the playoffs. Devin Booker has been a big part of that. So overall, his cards are up pretty significantly over the past 30 days. It's going to be interesting to see what happens. I do think that if they were to get knocked out by the Clippers, then I think that this card would definitely cool off over the next month or so. But if they continue to move forward, we could also see this card go up pretty significantly. So it just depends on the type of conviction you have in the Suns and then also Devin Booker. So another player on the Suns I'm going to switch over to is Chris Paul, and this is his 2005 Topps base card, and this one has a population of 224 in a PSA 10. So this card's pretty low numbered, and as of the last 30 days, this card is up about 36%. So again, we're seeing some pretty phenomenal growth on Chris Paul. He's having a great postseason. He was on the COVID injury list for a couple games, so that looks like that slowed down his cards a little bit, but overall, over the past month, his cards have gone up about 36%. I do anticipate, similar to Booker, that this card would go up if they make it to the finals in advance, but I also do think that it would go down pretty significantly if the Suns end up getting knocked out against the Clippers or in the finals. But overall, it's good to see that Chris Paul is finally getting some love in the NBA hobby, as he is one of the greatest point guards of all time. So it's good to see some of his cards finally getting some love. And then the next player that we're going to look at is another monster on the Suns. And this, to me, was actually one of the surprise players this postseason. But this is Deandre Ayton, and this is his 2018 Prizm base PSA 10. And this card, guys and gals, over the past 30 days has gone up 85%. So close to 86% for Deandre Ayton. So he's been outperforming what a lot of people expected out of him. The Suns obviously are making a pretty good playoff run so far, and his cards were undervalued to begin with. So now I think that they're just seeing a spike to get back to normal value, plus the additional playoff bump, as he is playing pretty well in these playoffs, and I think he's really outperformed what a lot of people were anticipating out of him. So overall, over the last month, it's been about an 86% gain for Mr. Deandre Ayton. So fantastic postseason for any of you Ayton holders out there. And then the next player on the list, we're going to switch over to the Eastern Conference, and I'm going to highlight Giannis here on the Bucks. And again, they are currently tied to the Hawks 2-2, and Giannis recently just hyperextended his knee, so I'm not sure how long he's going to be out. But over the past month, his base 2013 Prizm in a PSA 10 looks like it's down about 21%, so his cards are still trending down over the last month. It does look like they've been creeping up a little bit ever since they knocked out the Brooklyn Nets. However, it looks like they've been trending down ever since then. It's going to be interesting to see how they can play without him if he's not able to play, and then also how he can bounce back if he can play. I'm not sure he'll be able to come back from the injury this series or next, so it's going to be really interesting to see what happens with Giannis cards. I personally anticipate them to most likely drop, as I don't think that they're going to advance very far if he can't play. But it'll be interesting to see what happens with these Giannis cards. And then another surprise player for me and also team is Trae Young. So Trae Young has had an outstanding postseason for the Hawks, and the Hawks are also overachieving in my opinion. So they are doing extremely well, and I think they're exceeding expectations. So they're having a great run. Again, it's tied 2-2 to the Bucks, but a lot of it's led by Trae Young, and he's had a great postseason. So over the last 30 days, his cards have gone up. Prizm base PSA 10 has gone up about 9%, and the Optic base has gone up about 13% in a PSA 10. So we're seeing some growth in Trae Young's cards over the past month, but it does look like ever since the playoff run, it looks like his cards have gone up from this little valley here. So it does look like they've increased quite a bit over the past 15 to 20 days or so. So that's when we've seen a lot of growth with Trae Young. And I do think that these cards would continue to grow or go up if, the further they advance in the playoffs. But again, if they do end up getting knocked out, I do see these cards going down like all the other players that have been knocked out and their cards have gone down. So again, Trae Young is having a great postseason, but it's really going to be interesting to see what happens to his cards depending on how they finish out this series and also in the finals if they make it. But with that being said, that is a quick NBA recap of the sports card market. I really hope that you enjoyed this information, and I hope you found it somewhat entertaining. If you did, please feel free to hit the like button and also subscribe. Thanks, and have a good rest of your day. Bye.